Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Week 5, Lesson 4 of the iBug Mac training course for Tuesday, April 7th. Our lesson is all about the Finder. Before we get into that, though, just a couple of our usual iBug announcements. You may join us for our Homeland Watch Party. I forgot to look at the details, but that is tomorrow, Wednesday, April 8th at 7 p.m. On Friday, we have iBug Night at the Virtual Movies. The feature is Weapons. The pre-movie social begins at 8, or at 7, with the movie following at 8. Then on Saturday, we have iBug Unplugged, Musical Memories, and it's all about the emotions that movies and music evoke, and there'll be some name that tune and stuff. And that's from 7 to 9 on April the 11th. Now let's get into our lesson. Of course, you're always welcome to join iBug every Monday. Join us for iBug Buzz from 7 to 9 p.m. for all of your iPhone questions. And we were just having a conversation about accessories like the HomePod and speakers, and so it's a great place to talk about those things as well. And I'm going to get my speaker or speech so you can hear voiceover.
On.
The Finder. This is a topic that we could delve into and spend hours on, and you're probably going to be overwhelmed with this lesson. That's certainly not what I want to do, but there's a lot to the Finder. However, even though it may seem like a lot, navigating can be quick and efficient. There's just lots of material to cover. Perhaps if you have not done anything with managing files and folders in other systems, as Herbie was discussing earlier, Finder is like File Explorer in Windows or the Files app on your iPhone. I don't know what those file management systems are called on other operating systems, but as I'm just saying, Finder is your Mac's file management and organization system. You are going to come across the Finder everywhere. We will be using the Finder app itself today, but when we go into TextEdit, Mail, Safari, Messages, you often save files in those apps, and the interface will be like that of the Finder. You'll kind of have the same layout. Before we get into the Finder layout, though, I want to talk about the 3 tasks that you might want to undertake when exploring an app for the first time. You don't necessarily have to do these in order, and you don't have to do all these at once, but it might help. And from here on out, we are talking solely about Mac apps, so one lesson devoted to one app, or sometimes 2 lessons devoted to the same app. But the things you might want to do are exploring the app-specific settings, taking a look at the layout of the app. So where's the content? What are the components of the window? And browsing through the menu bar, because the menu bar contains all of the commands you need to use an app, and many of those commands will have keyboard shortcuts. And I know it can get tedious to go to the menu bar constantly to remember a keyboard shortcut or to find it, but the more you do it, you will remember. And we also try to provide lists of keyboard shortcuts as well. But to start, I'm going to go into Finder settings. I need to make sure I'm in the Finder. And to do that, I will get to my desktop, which is VO-Shift-D.
Finder. Mac Demo. Volume.
We could have also opened Finder from the dock. When you open Finder from the dock, it should open what's called a new Finder window. I will explain what that is. The desktop is actually completely different from a standard Finder window. A Finder window contains either one folder or it contains several tabs, and each tab has a folder in that tab. Again, I know we'll get to explaining this later, but the desktop is not the true innards of the Finder. I can't think of a better way to put that. The desktop is a graphical representation. It is the home screen. The desktop is a representation of what's actually in a folder called desktop, which is in a certain location in your Mac. But for now, let's go to Finder settings. You can open any app's settings using the shortcut Command, comma. I think later on in your focus questions, not one that I gave you tonight, but you will get the full set later on, and I do not expect you to have all the answers now. But one of the later focus questions is, what are two universal commands we can use across different apps, not counting voiceover commands? And one of these is Command, comma. Command, comma will open settings in any app you are in, whether it's Mail, TextEdit, Safari, Finder, any of those apps, you can use Command, comma. And that's what we will do here to open Finder settings.
Now in Finder settings window, show all file name extensions, checked, checkbox.
Okay, great, but that's not quite where we want to be. We are going into the toolbar. The only instance I ever want you to think about using a toolbar, well, two instances. One, if you are looking for settings categories, and in Safari, you actually do need the toolbar to type in a web address, but you don't even have to go in and look for that. Well, I'm getting off on a sidetrack, but the times you'll actually use the toolbar are very rare. There are very specific instances. In general, you should not go looking for anything in the toolbar because you'll find it with keyboard commands. However, selecting a settings category must be done in the toolbar. When preparing for this presentation, I found that VOJ worked beautifully, going from different areas of Finder settings. So let's do that now. VOJ.
In toolbar. 4 items, advanced, selected, button.
And now I will remember VOJ takes us from one area to another, one interactable area to another. Sometimes VOJ even goes to content that is not in an area where you have to interact, or so I've discovered lately. Let's VO left a few times to get to general.
Sidebar, button, tags, button, general, button.
And your
Actions.
cursor may have already been on there. I'm going to press VO space. Sorry, we were about to hear VoiceOver say actions available. This is one of those instances where pressing VO command space doesn't really do anything. It might say like press or show alternate items. Not useful. I should turn off the show actions menu thing in Verbosity. I haven't though. For now, let's just ignore it and I'll press VO space.
General selected.
And now I'm going to VOJ.
In heading, show these items on the desktop. Content is empty.
Okay, it acts like we're inside the heading. We're not. The first subcategory in general we have is things that can be shown on the desktop. All this time, you may not have had anything on the desktop, or you may have placed files or folders there or something. But here are things that the Mac can place on the desktop for you.
Hard disks, checked, checkbox.
That's your Mac's internal storage.
External disks, checked, checkbox.
Any drive you connect to your Mac. If you want to see the contents of a thumb drive or, a storage drive or whatever, you may want to check these items with VO space.
CDs, DVDs, and iPods, checked, checkbox. Connected servers, unchecked, checkbox. Heading New Finder Windows show.
Okay, New Finder Windows. I belabor the point about Finder Windows. As I said, you don't really get into the innards of the Finder until you open a new window. But that new Finder window must open to something. What folder is it going to open to? I believe the default is recents. Yours might be set to recents. So when you do VOD and you go to Finder in your dock, or when you're on the desktop and press Command N, go ahead and do that when you're going through and listening to these recordings. And then once you do Command N or go to Finder in the dock, press VOF2 to hear what's open. That is the folder that's open in your new Finder window. And here we can change what that folder is. Let's VO right.
Dropbox pop-up button.
I chose Dropbox because I do all my work out of Dropbox. We can go into this pop-up button by pressing down arrow.
Menu, 9 items, checkmark Dropbox. Chanel's MacBook Pro.
When it says Chanel's MacBook Pro, or it could say Herbie's MacBook Mini, I'm not sure if it's, or Mac Mini, I'm not sure if it says that, but basically it's your name followed by the name of your device. That is an area called computer, and that shows all the drives connected to your Mac. It just shows drives. It's a list or whatever of drives connected to your Mac.
Macintosh HD.
That's the Mac's main hard drive.
Chanel.
That's your user folder, or also known as home. Yours will be your name.
Desktop.
The desktop is an actual folder, and you can have Finder open to that actual folder, not just the graphical, representation.
Documents.
Documents, you might want your Finder to open to Documents. That's a popular location because you'll be doing lots of work in Documents.
Recents. iCloud Drive.
iCloud Drive is definitely another possibility.
Other ellipsis.
And other is where I chose Dropbox.
Checkmark Dropbox.
I'm going to press Escape to get out of this menu. If you want to choose one of these items here, you would just press Return.
Closing menu. Dropbox.
And I'll VO right.
Sync desktop and documents folders. Checked. Checkbox.
VO right again.
Your desktop and documents folders are being synced with iCloud Drive. You can also access them from your other devices.
Very good. That's self-explanatory. Note, though, when your desktop and documents folders are synced with iCloud Drive, you will not find them under your user folder where you might expect to find them. And I'll kind of point that out as we go through.
Open folders and tabs instead of new windows. Unchecked. Checkbox.
Open folders and tabs instead of new windows. We are going to talk about that. The difference for us is using Control Tab versus Command Accent. And I'll show you the advantage with having them open in tabs instead of windows. You can have several tabs open in one window, which might kind of affect things for the sighted people. But for us, it's a matter of are we using Control Tab or Command Accent. And I'll show you what it's like to use both later on.
Open folders and tabs instead of new windows.
Very good. We've reached the end. Let's do a VOJ to get back to our toolbar.
In toolbar. 4 items. General. Selected. Button.
And VO right.
Tags. Button.
I'm
Actions
not going to... Oh, I keep hearing that. Actions available. Okay. I'm not going to spend too much time on tags. They are another way to label and organize your files across, several folders. You could have a whole bunch of files that are all in different locations but have the same tag applied, kind of like a clothing label or whatever. I would much rather keep things organized in folders and subfolders under those, or the old term is directories and subdirectories, but tags are an option and they can be easily searched in Spotlight.
Sidebar. Button.
We are going to take a minute to talk about the sidebar, and I pressed VO right to get to sidebar. I'll press VO space.
Sidebar selected.
And as a voiceover and keyboard user, you will rarely need to use the sidebar. The only exception is if you are connecting your iPhone to your Mac to transfer content or back up your iPhone, sync settings, whatever. But let's take a look at the options for our sidebar, and we'll VOJ.
In scroll area, 25 items, recents, unchecked, checkbox.
Most of these I have unchecked. You may check or uncheck them as you'd like. There's no right or wrong answer, but you can be efficient in the Finder without ever having to use the sidebar.
Shared, unchecked, checkbox. Favorites. Applications, unchecked,
Oh,
checkbox.
that cut off. It sounded like it said Asians. Hold on.
Applications, unchecked, checkbox. Desktop, unchecked, checkbox.
And all of these, or most of these, have keyboard shortcuts associated with them.
Documents, unchecked, checkbox. Downloads, unchecked, checkbox. Movies, unchecked, checkbox. Music, unchecked, checkbox. Pictures, unchecked, checkbox.
There are no keyboard shortcuts to open movies, music, or pictures. Some people might want to have music in the sidebar, particularly if you purchase actual music from Apple and you don't want to, or you download CDs and things and you might want to save it into music. Again, you can work around that without having to do the sidebar.
Locations.
And locations.
iCloud Drive, unchecked, checkbox. Cloud storage, checked, checkbox. Chanel, unchecked, checkbox.
Why do I have cloud storage checked? I don't know. I just do.
On my Mac, unchecked, checkbox. Chanel's MacBook Pro, unchecked, checkbox. Hard disks, checked, checkbox.
So again, that's your Mac's main hard drive. You might want to access that in the sidebar directly.
External disks, checked, checkbox. CDs, DVDs, and iOS devices, checked, checkbox.
And if you want to transfer content to your iPhone or back it up, definitely have CDs, DVDs, and iOS devices checked here. The one on the desktop, CDs, DVDs, and iPods, that will not allow your iPhone to be shown on the desktop. Your iPhone only appears in the sidebar if you want to back it up to your Mac.
AirDrop, unchecked, check. Bonjour computers, unchecked. Connected servers, trash, unchecked. Tags.
All right. And then we have things for tags that we can show in the sidebar. Let's VOJ back to our toolbar.
In toolbar. 4 items, sidebar, selected, button.
And VO right.
Advanced, button.
VO
Actions
space
available.
on advanced.
Advanced selected.
And let's VOJ.
Show all file name extensions, checked, checkbox.
By default, show all file name extensions is not checked. It's a good idea to have it checked, and that way you know what types of files you're working with. If you ask me about trying to open a file in TextEdit or Word, or you want to open something to do with music, well, it often helps to know what file type you are trying to access. And show file name extensions allows you to hear that. If you're really confident, with all the files on your computer, you know exactly what they are, fine. You could turn that off, but I don't recommend it if you're just, trying to figure out what you have and what opens what.
Show warning before changing an extension, checked, checkbox.
I will tell you that on the Mac, when you're in Finder, you can accidentally rename a file by pressing the return key on it, a file or folder. You would think, oh, we can press return to open in the Finder. Nope, you cannot. But what return does do is bring up a dialog to type in a new name, and that could mean accidentally changing the extension as well. You therefore might want a warning if you're about to change the extension.
Show warning before removing from iCloud Drive, unchecked, checkbox.
And a lot of these are personal preference.
Show warning before emptying the trash, checked, checkbox.
At least I would want to know if before emptying the trash in case I accidentally did that, because you can move something to the trash with Command Delete and empty the trash with Command Shift Delete. And I perhaps maybe might not be thinking, and you might accidentally press Command Shift Delete and only meant to press Command Delete.
Remove items from the trash after 30 days, unchecked, checkbox.
You can have your Mac do some storage management by clearing things automatically from the trash after 30 days.
Keep folders on top.
Okay, the final setting I want to look at is keep folders on top. When I first taught this course, I had no idea what that was. I just thought it was some weird visual thing and we could ignore it. No, it actually has to do with how files and folders are sorted. When you keep folders on top,
Keep folders on top.
are they going to be in an alphabetical list of folders first, followed by an alphabetical list of files? Or are you going to have a list that has folders and files together in alphabetical order? When it's keep folders on top, you see all the folders first. I actually prefer that setting in most instances.
In Windows, when sorting by name, checked, checkbox. On desktop, checked.
And I can kind of do the same on the desktop as well. We are done with Finder settings, so we can press Command W. Remember Command W to close a window. You can never close Finder. It's always open.
Close window. Desktop, group,
Now let's go into a real Finder window. Just as Command, comma, is used to open settings in any app on the Mac, Command, that has settings, and most do, Command N is used for a new something, a new anything. In Finder, Command N is a new Finder window. In TextEdit, Word, Pages, Command N is a new document. In Mail and Messages, Command N is a new message. In Calendar, Command N is a new event. So the two commands that you can use across apps, Command comma for settings, Command N for new. And in Finder, Command N will open up a new Finder window, which is what we want right now. And this is the true Finder. Not the desktop, the home screen. That's part of the Finder. That's the home screen. But the true Finder is when you do Command N.
Now in Dropbox window.
And as we heard, it says now in Dropbox window. Again, if I do VOF2,
Dropbox window.
we can confirm again that we are in Dropbox. That is what Finder has opened to. Because we're exploring this app for the first time, though, I want to go to the top part of the screen. And the command to go to the top left corner of the screen is Command VO Home or Command VO FN left arrow. There'd be really no reason for you to do this. I just want to kind of give you the full layout. And this layout is pretty universal across apps in terms of what we find first. So VO Command Home or VO Command FN left arrow.
Close button.
And now I'll just VO right through a few things.
Minimize button. Full screen button.
You're
Actions
always going to have close, minimize, and full screen. As keyboard users, we don't need to press these buttons. Close, we can do Command W. Minimize, Command M, although I would never do that. Full screen is FNF. Those are always going to be the top left-hand corner of your window. Let's VO right.
Dropbox.
And then we have the window title. And we just did our window title command, VOF2. It's kind of like our insert T or caps lock T. Let's VO right.
Toolbar.
Then you will have the toolbar. Because we don't need anything in this toolbar, we can use keyboard commands. I'm not even going to interact to show you what's there. We'll find all the things we need in the View menu, the File menu, all these other, in the Go menu. The toolbar is just like the candy aisle. It's catchy, it's, easy to go to, but it's more for sighted users because they can point and click. We do not need the toolbar. Let's VO right.
Sidebar. Table. Row 11 of 14. Dropbox. Select.
And then we have the infamous sidebar, and we'll come back to that in just a minute. Let's VO right.
Vertical splitter.
That should be familiar. Remember, we have the sidebar always separated from content via a vertical splitter, or a table that separates content, or a table that separates a scroll area, whatever the case may be. And here we have our sidebar and then a vertical splitter.
Icon view collection.
And yours may be saying icon view. Later, I'm going to hope will say file browser or scroll area. But right now, yours is probably saying icon view. Okay. Yes, I asked a question about the 3 main areas of the Finder window, or maybe it's just what's in the Finder window. The ones for you to know about are the toolbar and the sidebar and the file browser. Then to the right of the file browser, you may have a status bar. Some people have this thing called a path bar showing, which shows the location of the folder that your cursor is on.
Status bar.
So we VO right, we have the status bar if you interact.
In status bar, 2 items, 100 items, 21.4%, resize
So
icon, slide out of
it shows you how many items are here. I never look at the status bar.
status bar.
And that's the end of the window. Let's go back to our sidebar. And I'm going to VO left a few times.
Icon vertical sidebar, table, row 11 of 14,
And
Dropbox.
The sidebar is one area where you must interact. We did need to interact in the toolbar and Finder preferences.
Select.
The sidebar is the second area where we must interact, or the second task. And let's do that. VO shift down arrow.
In sidebar, table.
And let's go to the beginning. The sidebar is also where we must use VO up and down arrows. But let's do VO home.
Favorites, expanded 6 items and closed.
And
row
I
1 of
have a bunch of things in favorites because I used to add things to my sidebar. Now I know I don't necessarily need to use it. But let's just VO down arrow. You're not going to have these things in favorites.
ACB, level 1, Chanel. iBug. Mac training, setup files.
And I added these things to my sidebar by pressing Command-Control-T on the associated folders in the Finder.
Chanel Herbie. Locations, expand.
And here we have locations. I'm going to continue to press VO down arrow.
OneDrive, Dropbox, Chanel's iPhone, eject button.
If I wanted to eject with this iPhone, I would interact. But if I want to kind of see what's on here, I could do VOJ, and that would be fine. It takes me into the general area
Out of sight.
of the iPhone. There are different categories. One of them is general. But if I uninteract with the sidebar and then I VO right twice,
Vertical, Chanel's iPhone, image.
and we see my iPhone,
Chanel's iPhone, content select.
VO right,
Manage storage, iPhone 7, Chanel's iPhone, general,
and you have all these
selected.
things about the iPhone. If you continue to VO right enough,
Music,
you
movie,
get
book, photo, file, info, general, scroll.
into general and see the things there. I don't have time to show you how to back up your phone or anything like that. But let's go ahead and VOJ back into our sidebar.
In toolbar.
And VOJ again.
In sidebar, table, row 12 of 14, Chanel's iPhone, eject button.
And I'm going to go ahead and eject this. I will interact. I don't think I can press Command E here.
Eject, icon view.
No, I actually could. Okay. So if you do get stuck in the sidebar, you can press Command E. But Command E will also work in the other way that I'm going to show you how to browse through the Finder. Let's now take a look at the menu bar. And I'll stop I'll stop at a few things. As a matter of fact, I'm going to
Mac demo, volume. Now
okay. VOM for the menu bar.
Menu bar Apple.
And we'll right arrow to Finder.
Finder.
Down arrow to open the menu.
Finder, menu, 7 items about Finder. Settings ellipsis command comma.
Settings ellipsis command comma. We were just there earlier.
Empty trash ellipsis command shift delete.
Empty trash command shift delete.
Services submenu. Hide finder command H. Hide others command option H. Show all dimmed. About finder.
And we're back at the beginning. Let's right arrow to file.
File menu 23 items.
And down arrow.
New finder window command N. New folder command shift N. New folder with selection dimmed command control N. New smart folder. New tab command T. Open command O. Open with submenu dimmed. Close window command W. Get info command I. Rename dimmed. Compress dimmed.
Compress is to create a zip folder. And some of these that we've passed, we've either discussed briefly or we'll review more extensively.
Duplicate dimmed command D. Make alias dimmed command control A.
We are going to make something into an alias later.
Quick look drop box command Y. Print dimmed command P. Share ellipsis dimmed. Manage shared folder ellipsis dimmed. Show original dimmed command R. Add to sidebar dimmed command control T. Move to trash dimmed command delete. Eject dimmed command E.
And a lot of these are dimmed because we're not focused on a particular file.
Tag interactive.
Yep, there's an actual part of the menu where you can interact. If you're applying a tag, again, I don't mess with that.
Find command F. New finder window command N.
And we're back at the beginning. Let's right arrow.
Edit menu 11 items.
I'm going to skip over edit. I'll right arrow again.
View menu 19 items.
And view will be important. Let's down arrow.
Check mark as icons command 1.
That is what you do not want. I set mine back that way on purpose to show you do not want icons. And when I help students, and I come to them later on, and the biggest problem, even after this class, the view is set in icon view. That is not going to help. So we'll talk about how to set the correct Finder views.
As list command 2. As columns command 3. As gallery command 4. Use groups command control 0. Sort by submenu. Clean up. Clean up by submenu. Show tab bar command shift T.
And these are things that can be shown in the Finder window.
Show all tabs command shift \. Hide sidebar command control S.
If you're never going to use the sidebar, you can hide it. Same with the toolbar.
Show preview command shift P. Hide toolbar command option T.
As a matter of fact, in Mail, one of the first things I have people do is hide the toolbar.
Show path bar command option P. Edit
Oops.
menu 11.
Okay, my finger slipped, but we were pretty much done with view. I'll kind of point out some of the important things.
View.
Let's go into one more menu,
Go menu 20.
which is the Go menu. And this menu is great because it has a list of a whole bunch of folders you can get to, and more importantly, it lists those folder shortcuts. If you want to be truly efficient in your Finder, I would spend some time to memorize or at least write down for yourself the folder shortcuts that you're going to use.
Back dimmed command left bracket. Forward dimmed command right bracket. Enclosing folder dimmed command up arrow. Recents command shift F.
Okay, I don't find recents entirely useful, but you know it's command shift F.
Documents command shift O.
Documents, definitely keep that one in mind. Command shift O.
Desktop command shift D.
Desktop, important one. Again, it's the desktop folder. It's a full folder, not just the graphical view of that folder.
Downloads command option L. Home command
Downloads, that's very important.
Home command shift H.
Home, that's again the same as your username. So Chanel, when I see Chanel in other places, I know it means my home folder. I wish that the Mac would use the same names in all places, but I know home is the same thing as Chanel.
Library command shift L. Computer command shift C.
Again, that's the list of all the drives connected to our Mac.
AirDrop command shift R. Network command shift K. iCloud drive command shift I. Shared Command Shift S. Applications Command Shift A.
Applications, if you're going to be downloading applications and you might need to paste the files into your applications folder.
Utilities Command Shift U. OneDrive Pers Dropbox. Recent folders submenu. Go to folder ellipsis Command Shift G.
If you know the name of a folder, but you don't know where it is on your Mac, you can type Command Shift G from anywhere in the Finder, and then type the tilde character, which is shift and the accent, followed by the /. I know it's weird, it is /, and then the name of the folder that you want to go to, and your Mac should find it for you.
Connect to server ellipsis Command K, back dimmed Command left bracket.
Okay, so that's enough getting acquainted with the app.
Closing.
We spent time going through Finder settings. We learned about the main components of the Finder window, that is the toolbar, the sidebar, and the file browser, and now we just finished going through the menu. Let's talk about good Finder views and how to navigate using them. I'm going to press Command Shift C. Again, that's called Computer or Chanel's MacBook Pro, and it lists all the drives that are internal on my Mac and external. Drives, volumes, by the way, they're the same thing.
Computer, icon view, collection.
And the first thing I need to do is say icon view, and immediately change it to list view or column view. My preferred view is column view, but I'm going to show you list view. Many people like list view. They feel it's a little bit easier, less complicated. I was finally convinced after decades, now not decades, but I was finally convinced to give column view a try, and I did eventually see the light that yes, column view is quicker, but list view can be good too. Either way, don't use column view. Don't use icon view. I don't really understand what gallery view looks like, but don't really use that one either. Let's set list view with Command 2. So again, we opened our computer with Command Shift C, and now we are going to press Command 2.
List view, table, no selection.
And you might be hearing list view, table, no selection. Okay, Chanel, do I interact? No. This is an area where you think you need to interact, but you actually don't. If you, though, prefer to use list view, and let's say you want to know some info about a file. You hear VoiceOver reading the size, the date, whatever, and you want to actually interact so that you can examine those columns, you can move among those columns, then you would interact. But if you just want to kind of navigate up and down, you don't really care about anything else other than hearing the file and folder names, you don't need to interact. Let's find Macintosh HD. I'm going to down arrow.
Mac demo volume, eject button.
Down arrow again.
Macintosh HD volume, March 20th, 2026 at 00:25.
Yeah. The disadvantage with list view, VoiceOver is going to speak a lot of gibberish. Let's go ahead and Command down arrow. You could also Command O, that's fine too, but I prefer Command down arrow, and you do that in list view. Command O or Command down arrow to get into that particular drive.
List view, table, no selection.
Now, let's find my user folder. The goal is to find Chanel, then find music, and then find a folder in music called media. So we're kind of delving down into these files. Some people call it a tree with branches when you're looking at files on your Mac. I just kind of think of, I don't know what analogy you want to use, but we're opening folders and subfolders with Command down arrow. Again, let's find my user folder.
Applications folder.
This is where you will find all the applications installed on your Mac.
Library folder. Folder. System folder. Folder. Users folder. Folder.
And I'm going to press Command down arrow.
List view. Table. No selection.
And now I am going to down arrow.
Chanel folder. Folder.
I'm going to Command down arrow.
List view. Table. No selection.
And let's see if we can find music. I'm going to down arrow.
Applications folder. Folder.
Okay, you're thinking, oh, this is another applications folder. Well, it is, but this one is only for websites that you kind of save as applications. That's a feature of Safari. I don't find that works too well, but this is not a full-fledged applications folder.
Downloads folder. Folder. Dropbox alias. 44-byte. Instructions folder. Library folder.
You won't have an instructions folder. I created it. I needed a folder for something. Anyway, let's down arrow.
Movies folder. Folder.
You probably won't have a Dropbox alias either, but let's continue.
Music folder. Folder.
And I will Command down arrow to open music.
List view. Table. No selection.
Down arrow again.
Music folder.
Command down arrow.
List view. Table. No selection.
Down arrow.
Media folder.
Command down arrow.
List view. Table. No selection.
Okay. We just we found MacBook Pro, we found the user folder, we found Chanel, we found music, another music folder, and then media. How do we go back? Well, we could just immediately press Command-Shift-C and find the hard drive again, or press another folder command, but let's show you how to go back. To open the containing or previous folder, you press Command up arrow. To go into a folder, down into a folder, you press Command down arrow. To come up out of that folder into the previous folder, Command up arrow.
List view. Table. Row 2 of 4. Media folder. Folder.
You can also, if you're confused about where you are, you can press VOF2.
Music. Window. 1.
The only problem is VoiceOver says you're in the music folder, but your cursor is still on media. That's the way list view goes. You're on the media inside of music. In column view, what you hear will be more in sync. But let's continue to do Command up arrow.
List view. Table. Row 2 of 2. Music folder.
And Command up arrow again.
List view. Table. Row 8 of 12. Music folder.
Command up arrow again.
List view. Table. Row 2 of 3. Chanel folder.
Command up arrow.
List view. Table. Row 5 of 5. Users folder.
Command up arrow.
List view. Table. Row 3 of 4. Macintosh HD.
All right. This time, however, I am going to take us on the same journey using column view. We're going to go to a different location, though. We are going to find my iBug folder, which is in Dropbox, but under the Chanel folder in Dropbox. To change to column view, let's press Command 3.
As columns checked, one item selected. Macintosh HD volume.
And when you're in column view, you press right arrow to go into that folder. From my understanding, in column view, you don't hear all the information about the files, like the date, the size, the file type, the modified date. But what happens is when you press right arrow, the next folder's info is opened in the column to the right, or the next folder's items. We are going to need to turn off the preview column. Turning that off makes the VoiceOver experience much more consistent and easy. But for now, when you're in column view, you'll press right arrow to go into a subfolder and left arrow to come back. So let's do right arrow.
One item selected. Applications.
And this time, I'm just going to directly type U.
Users. Folder.
And then right arrow.
One item selected. Chanel. Folder.
And I'll right arrow.
One item selected. Application.
And I'm going to type DR.
Downloads. Folder.
Or I should have typed DR. That was D, but...
Dropbox alias.
And notice we don't see desktop or documents here. That's because those are in iCloud Drive, and we'll talk about that later. We are in Dropbox. I'm going to right arrow.
One item selected. One password up.
I'll type in CH for Chanel.
Chanel.
Right arrow.
One item selected.
IB for iBug.
iBug.
Right arrow.
One item selected.
And let's say we want to go to Mac Training. MA for Mac Training.
Folder.
Right arrow.
One item selected. Course information folder.
Let's go back to Macintosh HD. Again, we can press left arrow to go back or to the previous folder.
One item selected. Mac Training folder.
And notice if you do VOF2,
Mac Training window. One window.
it says Mac Training. And what we hear then is more in sync when you press left arrow and then you do VOF2. All right, let's left arrow all the way back to Macintosh HD.
One item selected. iBug full. One item selected. Chanel full. One item selected. Dropbox A. One item selected. Chanel folder. One item selected. Users folder.
Yes, there were 2 Chanel folders. One was actually in Dropbox.
One item selected. Macintosh HD volume.
And before we leave off this kind of delving into things and coming out of them, let's make sure that if you're going to use column view, it is not set to use the preview column. We need to turn off the preview column. If you're going to use list view, that's fine, but you may want to uncheck several of the boxes that are date modified, date created, because the more of those that are checked, the more VoiceOver will try to read. To get into view options, we need to press Command J.
Chanel's MacBook Pro window.
And let's VO right.
Browse in column view. Checked.
Oh, I think it didn't read us the first one we were on. Let's VO left.
Always open in column view. Checked. Checkbox.
And VO right.
Browse in column view. Checked. Checkbox. Group by. None. Group by. Pop-up button.
Grouping, it's more of a visual way to notate things. I don't think it really does anything for us. Maybe you'd see the letter A as you're moving down through the file list and then all the items with the letter A.
Sort by. Pop-up button. Name, sort by, pop-up.
And you can choose all these different criteria for how files are sorted.
Menu, A kind. Date last opened. Date added. Date modified. Date created.
We
Closing
saw
menu.
sort by also in the view menu.
Text size. 13. Show icons. Unchecked.
I turn off icons. I'm not sure if that's as important as turning off the preview column.
Show icon preview. Dimmed check. Show preview column. Unchecked. Checkbox.
Preview column. Make sure that is unchecked. Again, if you're going to use list view, you may not have the preview. I don't think you have the preview column.
Resize columns to fit file names. Resize.
And now we can Command W.
Now in Macintosh.
Let's do some real work. Finally, what our purpose here is in Finder is to kind of organize things. Let's say that you have been listening to the class recordings on your iPhone. You go to your email in your iPhone, you double tap on the link, and it downloads the recording. If you're using iCloud, then those recordings are downloaded into a folder in iCloud Drive called Downloads. To open iCloud Drive, we will press Command-Shift-I. Notice we didn't see iCloud Drive when we were kind of browsing through the structure of folders, but we can get to it directly by pressing Command-Shift-I as in iCloud.
iCloud Drive.
And now, since I'm in column view, I need to press right arrow to open it. In list view, it'll be already opened.
Automator folder.
Let's down arrow so you can hear some of the things that are here.
BRF files folder.
You'll have that if you use a Braille display with your iPhone or Mac.
Desktop folder.
Aha, here's our desktop folder.
Documents folder.
And our documents folder.
Downloads folder.
And here is downloads. And these, like I said, this is the downloads folder that you have access to via the Files app on your iPhone, provided you're signed into the same iCloud account on your iPhone and Mac.
One item selected. 2026 to 2003-10, VoiceOver Basics Part 1 M4A, Apple MPEG 4A.
Oh, what do you know? These are our class recordings. Okay. Well, we want to organize these a bit. We want to put these in a folder in our documents. We're going to create a folder called Mac Training Course, and we're going to create a subfolder called Recordings. Let's select some of these files. We can select files that are in a row by pressing Shift down arrow. The file that your cursor lands on is automatically selected. If I press VOF6 right now,
one item selected. 2026 to 2003-10, VoiceOver Basics Part 1 M4A group.
It's already selected. We didn't do anything, we just landed on it. If I press if I press Shift down arrow, this is a Mac command to select the next file down.
2026 to 2003-12, Review Session 1, Meet and Greet M4A, added to selection 2 items selected.
Continue to press Shift down arrow.
2026 to 2003-17, VoiceOver Basics Part 2 M4A, added to selection 3 items selected.
Shift down arrow again.
2026 to 2003-19, Review Session 2, Lesson 1 M4A, added to selection 4 items selected.
Shift down arrow.
2026 to 2003-26, Review Session 3, Lesson 2 M4A, added to selection 5 items selected.
Shift down arrow.
2026 to 2003-31, System Settings and VoiceOver Utility M4A, added to selection 6 items selected.
Shift down arrow.
Singing Bowls in the Backyard M4A, added to selection 7 items selected.
Oopsies, that's a file somebody sent me. No problem, I can do Shift up arrow.
Singing Bowls in the Backyard M4A.
To undo that, and I just press Control to kind of pause VoiceOver speech. Again, if we want to hear how many files are selected, VOF6, and it'll start telling us what they are. I'm going to cut that off.
6 items selected.
Very good. The next step is to copy these items, and then we're going to paste them into the new folder that I'm talking about. Let's do Command C to copy. C as in copy, Command C.
Copy 6 items.
Now I'm going to open a new Finder window. Why? Because I want to paste into a different folder. I could theoretically press Command-Shift-O right here, and that would open documents over the top of downloads. But I want to be working in several folders at once. I may come back to downloads and decide, oh, I need to paste something else from here somewhere else. If you're going to be pasting and copying files in multiple locations, you will want to have different Finder windows or tabs open. Let's open a new Finder window, by pressing Command N.
Now in Dropbox window.
Uh-oh, it said Dropbox. Well, that's not a problem because we can press Command-Shift-O.
Documents.
And Dropbox is replaced by Documents. Now let's talk about creating a new folder. If you're in List View, you will want to press Command down arrow to open Documents. When you're in Column View, however, whether you're creating a folder or pasting something, you just need to be pointed to the location where you want it to go. You do not actually open that location, you just point to it. In this case, our VoiceOver cursor or keyboard cursor is on Documents. The command to create a new folder is Command-Shift-N. We used Command-N for a new Finder window, but Command-Shift-N is a new folder, just like you use Control-Shift-N on Windows, or maybe it's Control-Alt-N. I don't remember. Anyway, maybe not a good analogy, but Command-Shift-N,
Untitled folder, content selected, edit,
is our new folder, and I'm going to call it Mac Training Course.
Select A, C, Mac T-A-I-N Trainings R-S-E.
Then I'll press Return.
Mac Training Course, window, column view, browser, 1 item selected. Mac Training Course, group, row 1 of 1.
If you're in list view, you will command down arrow. Column view, we heard Mac training course is selected. I now want to create a subfolder called recordings. I'm going to press Command Shift N. Again, Command Shift N for new folder.
New folder, untitled folder.
And call this recordings.
Selection E-S.
Then I'll
Recordings.
press return.
One item selected. Recordings folder, recordings window.
And it's saying recordings window. If I do VOF2,
Recordings window.
see, even though, because we're actually on recordings, we didn't need to press right arrow. VoiceOver treats it, or Mac, as if the recordings is open. And all we need to do is Command V to paste our files.
Paste 6 items.
And there they are. Now, if I right arrow to actually open recordings and see what's there,
One item selected. 2026 to 2003-10, VoiceOver Basics Part 1 M4, Apple MPEG-4 Audio. 2026 to 2003-12, Review Session 1, Meet and Greet M4, App.
and it looks like we have our files. How do we navigate between different Finder windows? Command accent. And I want to show you how this works. So Command accent,
Now in Downloads window.
if I press
Column
Command
view,
accent
browsers,
again,
Mac Demo Volume. Mac Demo Volume.
what? Mac
Actions
Demo
available.
Volume, I'm confused. Well, let's do VOF2.
Desktop Mac Demo Volume.
I see, we're on our desktop. Let's Command accent again,
Now in Recordings window.
and again.
Column- Now in Downloads window.
And again.
Mac Demo Volume.
It's not too big of a problem if we only have 2 other folders open. However, if we have 3 or 4 Finder windows open and you constantly have to contend with desktop as you're pressing Command accent, that is a bit of an annoyance. Alternatively, we can use Finder tabs. You might find Control Tab easier to press, and you'll never have to come across the desktop and hear things like volume and kind of be wondering, where am I at? I'm going to close all the Finder windows that are open by pressing Command Option W.
Close all.
And I'll do that
Close
again.
all.
Yeah, I think it closed it all. Let's now do Command T as in tab, Command T for a new Finder tab.
Now in Dropbox window.
And again, I'm going to do let's do Command Shift O
Documents.
for documents. And let's right arrow.
Hugging Face folder.
That's a weird folder for Mac Whisper, the program I use to start to convert these recordings into transcripts. Let's do M.
Mac Training Course.
Okay, we're on Mac Training Course. This time, however, I want to open the Downloads folder that is part of your Mac. Let's do Command T,
Now in Dropbox window. Column.
and let's do Command Option L.
Downloads. One item selected. Downloads folder.
If you're in List View, you press Command down arrow to see the files in here. In Column View, we press right arrow.
One item selected. Thunderbird Getting Started with the Basics folder.
And I'm going to have some random stuff in here. If we Control Tab now
Now in Tab Mac Training Course.
and Control Tab
Now in
again,
Tab Thunderbird Getting Started with the
Oops, and
Basics.
again.
Now in Tab Mac Training Course. Now in Tab Thunderbird.
all right, so we're not actually doing anything with this Thunderbird. It just happened to be the first subfolder in Downloads. But we can still look at the other items in Downloads.
2026 to 2003-10, VoiceOver Basics, Takeaways and Transcript.txt, plain text document.
Okay, let's take these next couple of files. I'm going to shift down arrow again to select multiple items.
2026 to 2003-17, VoiceOver Basics Part 2, Takeaways and Transcript Art. 2026 to 2003-31, System Settings and VoiceOver Utility, Takeaways and Transcript RTF, added to selection 3 items selected.
And I am going to copy these files with Command C.
Copy 3 items.
And this time I want to move these files. Last time we copied them and pasted them into a different location, but we left the original files where they were. This time though, I want to completely move these files from downloads into Mac Training Course so that there is no copy of them left in downloads. They're going to move to Mac Training Course. This is not cut, which is Control X on Windows. We do have cut, but that is when we use it in TextEdit or Word or Pages. In Finder, you have move. Let's go ahead and Control Tab.
Now in Tab Mac Training Course. Column View, Browser, 1 item selected. Mac Training Course.
And let's create a folder in here called Transcripts. Remember our folder command, Command-Shift-N.
New folder, Untitled folder, Content.
And I'll type Transcripts.
Select RANSIPTS. 1 item selected. Transcripts, folder, Transcripts.
Remember in List View, you would press Command down arrow. Since I'm in Column View and I know our focus is on Transcripts, we can press Command Option V to move these 3 items into Transcripts.
Move 3 items here.
And we've done that. Okay, great. I also have some other things in downloads. We could create a focus question subfolder, but you get the idea. Let's say now that you want to create a Mac Training Course alias on your desktop. Remember, an alias is a shortcut. So you might not feel like going into Documents and then Mac Training Course. You might just want to see Mac Training Course alias directly on your desktop. And we can do that. Let's left arrow or command up arrow if you're in List View.
1 item selected. Mac Training Course folder.
And the shortcut to create an alias is Command-Control-A.
Make a Mac Training Course alias, content selected, edit text.
Here's where you could name this alias. And we could do that. We could change the name or we could just press return.
Mac Training Course, window, column view, browser, 1 item selected. Mac Training Course alias, group, row 1 of 1.
I now want to copy this file with Command C.
Copy Mac Training Course alias.
I'm going to open a new Finder tab with Command T.
Now in Dropbox window.
I'm going to press Command Shift D for the desktop folder.
Desktop.
And because I'm in column view, all I need to do is Command Option V. If I was in List View, I would Command down arrow and then do Command Option V. But I'm in column view, so I'll do Command Option V.
Move item here.
And now it's open. Let's go ahead and go to our desktop. I'm going to press Command Accent.
Mac demo volume.
And let's see if
Actions.
we can find it. I'm going to VL left.
Mac Training Course alias.
And what do you
Actions
know? We
available.
found it. And so you could Command down arrow to get to Documents, Mac Training Course. This is really more useful if your folder is buried somewhere even further, but the alias allows you direct access to it on your desktop. But there's a final activity I want us to do. By the way, let's return to our Mac Training Course.
Now in tab desktop.
Our desktop. Let's close this with Command W.
Now in tab downloads. Column view.
So right now, if we Control Tab,
Now in tab documents. Column view.
we have
browser.
downloads
Row
and
1
then
of 1.
documents.
Now in tab downloads. Column view. Browser. Row 1. Now in tab documents. Column.
And notice we press Control Tab and we don't have to contend with the actual Finder desktop window that's the more visual desktop. Yes, we pasted into the desktop folder, but we are not actually seeing that when we do Control Tab. Whereas when we did Command Accent, we had to always go past it. let's do Command T again for
View,
a new tab.
browser.
Oops.
Now in Dropbox window.
And this time press Command Shift C.
Computer.
And I need to press right arrow because I'm in column view. List view, you don't need to worry.
Mac demo volume.
Perfect. I want to open this volume. I'm going to press right arrow.
One item selected. Air fryer steak and baked potatoes. Text, plain text document.
I'm going to make sure this is in column view by pressing Command 3.
As columns, checked.
And let's talk about how to select files that are not in a row. I copied some recipes randomly from somewhere and put them on this disk because I know that one of you has had recipes you wanted to copy. But let's say I don't want all these recipes. We need to know how to select files that are not in a row. This is the third task where you must interact in the Finder. The first was getting to Settings categories in the toolbar under Finder Settings. The second was finding your iPhone in the sidebar. And the third is what's called non-contiguous file selection, or selecting files that are not in a row. Let's go ahead and do VO Shift down arrow to interact.
In column view, browser air fryer steak and baked potatoes. Text, plain text.
And because I've interacted, I now need to use VO down arrow to find the first file I want to select.
Almost KFC fried chicken RTF, rich text document, row
That
2
one
of
sounds good. To select this first file, we need to toggle on VoiceOver selection. And we do that by pressing VO Command Return.
Almost KFC fried chicken RTF, rich text document, added to selection. One item selected.
And I'm going to VO down arrow.
Baked chicken and rice RTF, rich text document.
VO down
both
arrow.
barbecue chicken enchiladas.
Nah,
Microsoft
VO down
Word
arrow.
best ever brownies RTF,
Oh,
rich
that one
text
sounds
document. Row 5 of 30.
Again, VO Command Return to select the file.
Best ever brownies RTF, selected, rich text
And
document,
let's see,
added to
let's
selection. 2 items selected.
select another couple.
Breaded chicken RTF, rich text
Sure,
document,
VO
row
Command
6 of
Return.
breaded chicken RTF, Chanel's Choices holiday cookie
Nah.
recipe, chicken pot pie RTF,
VO
rich
Command
text document,
Return.
chicken pot pie RTF, so chocolate chip crunch cookies. Docs, Office Open
That one.
XML
VO
word
Command
processing.
Return.
Chocolate chip crunch.
So we've selected several files. And we can do Command C to copy. I do want to show you, though, the options that you have access to in the shortcut menu. Remember the shortcut menu? VO Shift M.
Menu 15 items.
And let's just down arrow quickly through here.
New folder with selection, 5 items.
That actually creates a new folder at this specific location with those items.
Open. Open with submenu. Move to trash. Get info. Rename 5 items. Compress 5 items.
That's how you create a zip folder.
Duplicate. Make alias. Quick look 5 items. Copy 5 items. Share ellipsis. Tags, interactive, quick actions, submenu, send file to Bluetooth device, new folder with selection, 5 items.
Okay, so I'm just going to type in CO
Compress
for copy.
5 items.
Oops. No.
Duplicate.
COP.
Copy 5 items.
And then press return.
Closing menu. Chocolate chip crunch cookies.
And let's go back into our documents. Control Tab.
Now in tab documents. Column view. Browser. Row 1 of 1.
Oh, okay, so let's VOF2.
Documents.
Perfect, we are in Documents. Let's create a new folder here called Recipes. Command Shift N.
New untitled folder.
And call it Recipes.
E-S.
And then press return.
Recipes. Recipes. Window. Column view.
And then let's do Command Option V to move.
Move 5 items. Now in tab recipes. Column.
Oh, and I just remembered there's something in Downloads that I want to copy onto that this Mac demo drive because I want to read it on my Braille display. Okay, let's do that. Let's Control Tab.
Now in tab downloads.
Perfect. The file began with the letter U, so I'll type that.
UEB punctuation alphabetical BRF tag.
Oh, yay, that's the one I wanted. Command C.
Copy UEB punctuation alphabetical B.
And let's Control Shift Tab.
Now in tab recipes. Column view. Browser. 1 item selected.
Control Shift Tab.
Now in tab Mac demo. Column.
There we go. And let's Command V. It doesn't matter if you're on top of another file, so let's Command V.
Paste item.
And there we go. I have it in here if I press the letter U.
UEB punctuation alphabetical BRF text.
So that's how we can do stuff in the Finder. It might be confusing right now. There's a lot. We're going to cover Finder or some aspect of it in pretty much every lesson we do from here on out. We have the review session Thursday, so we can definitely answer any of your questions then. I'm sure that Herbie or I would be more than happy to demo anything that was unclear. And now we would be happy to take your questions. Let's see. There, now you should be able to unmute.
This is Kenny.
Yeah, hi, Kenny.
Hi. When you were in the Finder, that HD volume, is that, because on my desktop it's always on the desktop, is that the only place that HD volume's in?
You can do Command-Shift-C and find it there. So when you're on the desktop, you can press Command-Shift-C and you can find that also listed.
Because my desktop where you can put the aliases, it only has the HD volume, and I think that's about it. There's nothing else there.
Right. So then you can go into the Finder settings and check the box for showing all, external drives or CDs or things that are connected to your Mac.
Okay. Well, I thought you said you didn't. You recommended us not to put stuff on the desktop because it auto-runs everything.
Not actual files or actual folders, but the things that the Mac legitimately has options for that. Definitely you could put those. Or what I did is put an alias, which is a shortcut to a folder on my Mac. So it's not the actual folder or file itself.
Right. Yeah. I was wondering, I wonder why she didn't put a shortcut to the documents folder or whatever that was. Yeah.
Because you can get to that with Command-Shift-O. I don't need,
okay.
Because
Gotcha.
all those, because sure, you could put them on the desk if you want, but I use shortcuts whenever I can. Right. Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you.
Yep. Great. Anyone else?
This is Donald.
Yes, Donald.
Is there a way to on Finder? There's no way to cut files. There's just a way to paste and move,
Yeah.
right?
So, moving is basically the same as cutting, really and truly, because you're taking the file from. We just don't call it cut, but it's the same thing.
Same thing. Okay.
Yeah,
Just
you're
making
not.
sure.
You still have to do Command C in both cases, but then you either Command V to paste or Command Option V to move it from that previous location into a new location.
Okay, I apologize for being late. I had some technical problems.
Oh, you weren't late. Your computer was here.
Oh, okay. Just making sure. Sure.
Okay. All right.
This is Bhuvan here.
Yeah, hi, Bhuvan.
I had could you show how can we drag and drop using this voiceover? Sometimes it won't, it would say marked item is no longer available, like that kind of things.
What's no longer available?
Marked item. When we drop the
right. Well, what are you trying to drag and drop?
file, a folder from downloads to documents.
Okay, well, I would not drag and drop. I would copy and paste and move. So don't drag and drop. There is sometimes a purpose for drag and drop, like in inaccessible applications or whatever, but if you want to move that folder in documents, you would copy it.
6:35.
and then you would do, Command Option V or do Command C on whatever it is in downloads, and then that copies it, and then do Command Option V to paste it into downloads or wherever you want to paste, whatever, move it.
Yes, yes, yes. I understand. Thank you.
Yep.
This is Alana.
Yeah. Hi, Lana.
I was confused by when you said there were that your Mac is called Chanel and there were files in the Chanel folder. I was confused.
Yeah, so
Do all of our Macs have that with our name?
I think so. Like Herbie's so the thing that's called computer would be named for me like Chanel's MacBook Pro, and Herbie's might be, Herbert's MacBook Mini or whatever. And that's simply the list. The computer is a folder or area listing all the drives connected to your Mac. And then you also have a user folder. It's also known, the user folder is though known as the home folder. It's confusing. So the home folder has your name as well. And under your user folder, that's where you'll often see desktop and documents, unless you're signed into iCloud. Other things under your user folder, like an smaller applications folder, music, movies, pictures, those are in the user folder. So the Mac, it's just, it uses different names to kind of refer to the same thing. There's a difference between your user folder and then the computer, or computer being the folder that lists all the drives connected to your Mac. Herbie, can you make that any clearer?
Well, the computer folder is going to contain things, including your user folder.
No, the computer doesn't. It's just the drives connected to your Mac. It just shows all the drives.
Stop.
It just shows all the drives connected to your Mac.
Yes.
But your user folder is.
I mean, that's typical on both PC and Mac. Where you have a user folder with the name that you've, presumably you gave the computer when you signed up.
No, that's okay. Yeah. No, Herbie. On Windows, the username folder is not the computer name folder. It's part of your name or your name.
Right. Well, it's a little different, but it still is a similar concept. But you should have a folder depending on when you set up your computer. Like, mine is my full name.
Right, but we were also talking. But there is a difference between computer that lists all the drives connected to your Mac, and for some reason the Mac calls computer Chanel's MacBook Pro. That's the same term for the same folder or area.
So mine does, like my computer, it's Macintosh HD, and then
no, that's your main hard drive. When you do Command Shift C, Herbie, but then okay, that might be called computer, but in in other places it might be referred to.
Like, go to the sidebar. What's it? Because I don't even look at it, because I just do the commands. I don't even look at the names.
Okay, but that's the point, is when I'm doing these demos, we encounter all the names in the menus, like when you're choosing a new Finder window and when you're choosing...
I'm looking at what mine is called. Yes, I've got Herbert Allen, Herbie's iPhone. But that's... Yeah, it would have my name from when I set up the...
No. Oh.
Okay. Now you've lost me, too. Sorry.
So... Okay.
Zoom us.
When
Finder.
we were in Finder
Now in.
settings, and
Show
then
warning, but show warning before
Oh,
emptying the
we need to
trash.
go back
In
to
toolbar,
general.
tag general, but general so out of heading show these items on the desktop. Heading new Finder Windows show. Dropbox pop-up button.
new Finder windows,
Menu
and then
9 items. Chanel's MacBook Pro.
see Chanel's MacBook Pro is the same as computer that lists all the drives connected to your Mac.
Closing close window. One item select.
When you actually let's
Now
see when
in.
you're in
Toolbar. Tags, sidebar,
Sidebar.
tool, show these items, scroll area, in scroll, shared, fave, app, desk, doc, down, movies, music, picture, locations,
under locations.
iCloud Drive, cloud storage, Chanel, unchecked, checkbox.
Chanel is my user folder.
On my Mac, unchecked, Chanel's MacBook Pro, unchecked.
And again, we see Chanel's MacBook Pro, but that's actually known as also as computer, and that shows all the drives connected to your Mac. So,
Close window.
basically, yeah.
Now
when
in tab
you,
download. Now in Mac training alien.
when you do
Mac
Command
training-
Shift C,
Now in Chanel's MacBook Pro, window. Column.
yeah, it also says Chanel's MacBook Pro. So again, that's maybe it doesn't call it computer anywhere else. It used to, but that's shows it's not your user folder. This is all
Mac
the
demo.
drives
Macintosh HD network.
that connected to your drive, and it even shows the network. Your home folder, Command Shift H.
List view, table, no selection.
If I do VOF2, oh, this is still in list view. Let's do column view.
As columns, checked.
And VOF2,
Chanel, window. One window.
that is my user folder. And if I right arrow,
Applications, folder. Downloads, folder. Dropbox, alias, instructions.
these are things in my user folder.
Library,
So
folder. Mac
I know it's kind of confusing terminology.
loop on.
It's
So I will say, like, it's very interesting how they do it, because, like, for instance, in my computer folder, if I do F2, it is called Herbert's Mac Mini, but if I'm just looking through the folders, it's not actually called that, so it's a little bit...
I know, but you still have to press Command Shift C to get there. You're
Yes.
not actually going to find that unless you have that showing in the sidebar, or, we see that in the menu is to open new Finder windows too. So, I know we've muddied the waters, but use Command Shift C if you want to see all the drives connected to your Mac. Use Command Shift H if you want to see all of your personal folders that are part of your user folder. That's the best way to put it.
Okay, I think that makes sense. So, like, if I know that it's just my personal computer, I'm not connected to much of anything else, that the Command Shift H is what would work.
Right.
Yep.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yep. All right. Anyone else?
So one thing I will mention is these commands, these shortcut commands can be very useful, like Command Shift H for your home folder or whatever, if you're downloading things, or if you're doing a save as, and you're wanting to quickly find like your home folder or whatever. And we'll talk more about this when we go into things like save as, but you'll find these very useful in those dialogues as well as the Finder window. So I wanted to mention that.
Definitely. All right. Lot to take in, but you'll get there, and we will, if there are no other questions, we will see you on Thursday. We do have a review session, and
Yes,
that will...
we... Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. You can talk about that.
Yes, so review session this Thursday. You guys have had the week off, and that is, of course, going to be on the previous lesson. So definitely make sure you go back over that to refresh yourself. So That was lesson 3, if memory serves correct.
It was.
Yes. So we'll be going over like the voiceover utility and all that good stuff. Very important because this is how you make your voiceover work for you. So as well as the system settings. So definitely come this Thursday. And for those of you that did not make it the last time, I highly encourage you to come this time. And you might, so often people gain things from the review session, either through questions or something that I happened to mention that they did not get during the lesson. So even if you got overwhelmed by the lesson, still come to the review session.
Definitely. All right. Thank you very much. We will see you on Thursday. Have a good night.
Thank y'all.
Yep.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank
Good
you.
night.